Guys, welcome to round number 3 of Norway Chess tournament, which is happening in Stavanger. Pragg is playing with white pieces, Magnus playing with black pieces. It's a classical game, 2 hours for each of the players. Pragg starts with e4, c5, knight f3, e6, d4, takes, a6. So already very interesting choice by Magnus. He doesn't go for neither, he's going for gun variation, which is usually, gives white slight edge from the beginning, but I mean, Magnus, decided to spice the game up. Queen e2, d6, c4, knight bd7, knight is going to e5, so knight c3. I mean, Pragg doesn't even care about this. h3, b6, and now f4, hitting this knight on e5. Knight d3, queen d3, and now look, Magnus has 2 bishops on the board, while Pragg has 2 knights and bishop. So already Magnus has a pair bishop, and I can't say he's like any worse here. Bishop will go to b7, to e7, maybe castle. I know it will be safe, but then, bishop e7 is played. That's right, but now Pragg starts by pushing f5. So this move threatens this pawn on e6, and it's actually, puts Pragg into serious troubles, because the only move right now is to play e5 according to computer, which just doesn't make, a lot of sense here, because e5 just weakens d5, and if white are able to place the knight on d5, it will be a very sweet square. Queen d7 is played, bishop g5. And now, again, basically, let's say some rook c8 is played. Let's say it's absolutely random move. There is takes, and rook f6, and white are winning the pawn on f6 and win the game, because simply this is the next pawn which will fall in the position. So bishop e7, rook d1, rook c8, queen e2, e5. So Magnus finally decided to push e5, but again, as we were discussing earlier, look at this d5 square. As soon as this knight gets there, it will be hard to defend. Bishop f6. So again, if e takes d4, there is a simple bishop d4, bishop f6, knight c2, and now the plan is to basically knight f3, knight d5, or this knight d5. Basically all about this d5 square. Positionally, strategically, Pragg has a very big advantage, and according to the computer it's +2 advantage, which is, let's say you're up 2 pawns in an absolutely normal position. Yeah, Pragg is winning. So queen c6 is played, knight f3, bishop g5, king h1, takes, and now the problem is, if queen c4, let's say Magnus would have taken the pawn, there is f6 move, and the idea of f6 basically is that, I mean, g6 is not playable, because then queen b6 and, troubles on dark squares, and there are not too many moves. She takes f6, just rook f6. Now this pawn falls, then this pawn falls, the skin in the middle of nowhere, so it's tough to protect. So what was played was f6. So Magnus plays f6 himself, to block this pawn. b3, b5, now going for this counterattack. If takes, again, queen c3, up a piece, knight d5. So, and the idea is that after takes, let's say takes, there is knight b6, or there is rook c1. I mean, knight b6 is not even a strong move, yeah. Rook c1 ends the game right away. So that didn't happen, because Magnus decided to play queen c5, trying to trade the queens. So Pragg just goes queen f3, because he knows that still Magnus can't even do anything. Because look, here Pragg doesn't even take, he doesn't even care about his pawns. He just goes rook f3, he protects nothing, but his idea is that after c takes b3, there is rook c3, rook c3, and basically the game is just over. So that didn't happen. Bishop d5, rook d5, queen b6, and now b takes c4. And again, now rook c1 threat, queen g1, potential checkmate ideas, but no, Pragg plays rook b3, and look at this king on f8. King on f8 is in real trouble. rook b4, rook d3, takes, and it turns out that, I mean, this rook on h8 is not going anywhere, this queen is basically playing by itself, and it's very hard to defend. Queen d1, g6, queen b1, basically threatening rook b8, rook b7, queen c5 was played, rook b7, you know, cutting the king off 7th rank, she takes f5, king h2, so there are no checks, because let's say if takes, I mean, there is rook g8 and, you know, black are getting some counterplay, so actually white need to be faster, and king h2 is the first line of computer. For me it's actually a bit, I don't really understand why it is the first line. I guess it's because basically after queen b3 there is this and some very unpleasant checks, so king h2, rook g8, queen b3, d5, and after rook h7, basically queen b8 checkmate is being threatened. Position collapse, Magnus has no chances, only something like, let's say, this checks, but alright, who will play that? And Magnus lost to Pragg in the 3rd round of Norway Chess, and Pragg gets not 1, not 2, but 3 points for classical win, and he is now the leader of the tournament after 3 days. And yesterday, guys, I was telling you that Fabi was on the last place and that the win in classical time can give him a huge boost, and that's exactly what happened here. So Fabi 2nd with 5, Hikaru 3rd, he won against Alireza, and Magnus now 5th and Liren 6th. 2 world champions lost in 1 day today, yesterday. So guys, let's see what happens today. As you're watching this video, Fabi is playing Magnus plays with black piece again, Hikaru playing against Pragg, and Alireza is facing Tin. So let's see what happens. I'll see you in the recap tomorrow. Bye bye.